again for being here today at the Movie Tavern and in the comfort of your home or your office. Thank you so much for
California or Randy.
Oh, there is she California? I love the high heel shoes behind her too. But thank you again for supporting the Women's Business Connection and the Exton Region Chamber of Commerce. We're thrilled to have you here in person. And I hope you enjoyed Randi Zuckerberg as our final speaker of the series. And real quick, we're just going to do a quick recap of some of the speakers that we've heard in 2021. Starting in January, we had Radha Agarwal, which I loved her because she was all about dancing. And I don't know if any of you know about me and dancing, but I kind of like doing that. But things don't have to be the same is one of her key points. Who says dancing is reserved for the nighttime? If you remember, they did dance parties on Saturday morning. So again, nothing has to be the same. Community is experience design. Community is not just a group of people, said Radha. It's a space in which you experience a sense of belonging. And here we are. When things are not the same, people want to share it. People want to whisper it to their friends. And then in February.
Well, before we go to February, I'd like to also recognize Debbie Friedman from Blue Talk Printing and Design, who is our moderator, and Easy Peasy Cleaning, and 10,000, whatever it's called, small businesses, Goldman Sachs, who were the video chat sponsors. But in February, we were lucky to have Bonnie St. John. Our sponsor for that was First Resource Bank, so Sharon took care of that for us. And what I loved about Bonnie is she talked about being a helpable leader. We don't always think about how we could be more helpable, but it may be the secret to taking us from good to great. And fight for opportunities of others. Be a sponsor and be sponsored. I mean, they're both very important parts of being a leader. And build a community of champions. And this is what happens with groups like this. I was on the monthly luncheon for Women's Business Connection today, and we learned about building each other up and learning new things. So what I loved, her quote was, if we want to have ripple effects, we need to be amplified. So our virtual chat moderator was Maria O'Connell from Express Employment Professionals, and it was a great February.
And in March, we had Stephanie Mehta, and that was let's see, we didn't have a sponsor that month. Okay, so, but the key takeaways Stephanie had was remember who you lead. This means leaders need to treat their employees with integrity, respect, dignity, and equality, because frankly, that's what they expect from leadership in exchange for you giving you their best work. She also told us to stay curious. When leaders are curious, they set an example for those around them to create and find new ways of doing things. She also told us to be flexible. Leadership is strive for anti-fragility over resilience as they enter a new normal, she says. Anti-fragility allows you to take away what you've learned through a crisis and build things better than what it was before. Know your North Star, leaders must know and be able to communicate their purpose. Your purpose as a leader may actually change with the times. So you need to have flexibility in your purpose. And that was moderated by Dr. Laura Scola, who also spoke that same month for the WBC.
And that book will be raffled off today as well in that basket, so that's pretty cool. And then I get April with Tiffany Dufil, and I'm gonna embarrass you a little bit, Michelle, because the name of the topic was dropping the ball, and she said, you picked me for dropping the ball. But anyway, I love Tiffany, and I bought multiple books because she really speaks to me Her key points were drop any unrealistic expectations of who you think you're supposed to be. How many times do we have to be good, or the good girl, or the good daughter, or the good wife, or the good worker? Have realistic expectations. Let go of unrealistic expectations of what you think you're supposed to do. Abandon any fears of asking for help. People want to help, ask them. And banish guilt. Learn the expectations you put on yourself and rewrite the definition of what it means to be good. Don't try to lead your journey alone. All of our journeys are a team sport, not a solo endeavor. Thank you, Michelle, from Team Burkholder Financial Advisors for leading us during that time. Do you remember who we had in May? Oh, Abby Wambach was our speaker in May. And she was, I just want to meet her. And we found a moderator who's friends with her after we asked her if she would moderate, because she had a sports background and she's, you know, she's got like everything, like she's leadership and speaking, and we're like, you'd be great. She's like, I'm actually friends with her. I'm like, of course you are. So Jen Cronenberger, if you haven't met Jen, heard her speak, and you did this time, and she's amazing. And she helped us facilitate Abby Wambach's speech in April. And she said, make failure your fuel. Instead of viewing failures as setbacks, we should view them as opportunities and know when to demand the ball. As leaders, we want to challenge and motivate those around us by pushing them in front of us. But there are times when we must take charge and demand to take the ball to get things done. Anybody else here know how to do that? Yeah, we had to do that. And then I loved when she said, lead from the bench. She talked about being, you know, a superstar, and she was sitting the bench, but she saw this as an opportunity, and, you know, to lead the people on the bench with her and build them up. And she said, it doesn't matter if you're on the field or on the sidelines, lead from wherever you are. That was huge. I love that. And find your pack. Here's my pack. Hello. Leaders should surround themselves with people who will run alongside them in a relentless pursuit of excellence. She also said, true leadership is knowing when to push those people that you are trying to lead in front of you, and knowing when it's okay, when to say, okay, I've got this, follow me. Thank you. Was this a great 5 months or what? Let's really give everybody a great round of applause. So I guess it was like October, Bob, when we met, and you said, where can I make a difference in 2021 with Seepser Eye Care? And you agreed to be the presenting sponsor for this. And we had the pleasure and opportunity to meet some of your female and physicians, plus Dr. Seepser as well, to learn more about eye health. And I'd like to invite you up right now and speak a couple minutes about Seepser Eye Care. Ladies, just so you know, I found out later this afternoon that they are offering $1,500 credit towards LASIK if anybody is eligible for that. So, Karen.
Thank you, Lori. You know, for all the introductions I have ever had, that was by far the most recent. I'd like to thank the Chamber. Thank you for allowing us to be the presenting sponsor. Slow motion. So it's been a great opportunity for us, and we thank you. And I also like to thank Lori for providing the leadership for the Chamber during this very unprecedented time we've been in. So thank you, Lord. Caesar Eye Care in 2021 is our 40th year in practice. And many of you I know are startups and starting out and finding your way through your first, second, or third years. But what does it take to do 40? And really, you have to reinvent yourself to the consumer or the patient needs, and also make sure you're technology relevant, having the best equipment that you can get and be able to provide the latest technology in optical healthcare. So a couple of things at Caesar, we're also, we're known for LASIK. 8 minutes per eye could change your life. And there's a lot of misperceptions about LASIK. If you're thinking of doing it, call us. We can deal with some of those misperceptions. We also do cataract surgery and glaucoma, but in the newest field, dry eye. We're just about to open a 3,000 square foot dry eye center. We're the first in the region to do so. And we're very blessed to have Dr. Michelle Pendrak, who is a leading specialist in dry eye. So we're giving her a place to really go forward. And as Lori mentioned, we do have a gift prize for $1,500, but because we, for all of you who have participated in this series, tomorrow you're going to get an email from us with a $1,000 off a LASIK procedure, and it is transferable. So if you can't use it, you might know somebody who can. So look for that tomorrow. Don't put it in junk mail, just it'll be there. So finally, just thanks for the opportunity. What a wonderful conference. What a wonderful series. I've been able to tune in to most of them, and everything is just what they said. And having run businesses for many decades, there's a lot of newness out there. There was no playbook for managing a pandemic. And I think we've all become new leaders and new educators and new learners to take all this new information and go forward. So thank you very much.
It is my pleasure now to introduce our one of our sponsors today, Sienna McKinley, who is one of my dance partners in several events. And I've known Sienna for many years and excited that even our bank uses Monarch staffing. So appreciate all you do.
Thank you, Diane. Thank you, Laurie, and thank you everyone for coming out this crazy day. My name is Sienna, like she said, and I represent Monarch Staffing. I will say that change was a huge theme last year, so we reinvented ourselves to say that we can help both job seekers and candidates to change and adapt and thrive. So what does that look like? People sending me emails and reaching out and saying, I'm finding myself in transition. I could really use your help. And that's our joy, because I get to represent a whole team of recruiters that can really help them. And I get to come alongside business owners who have taken a leap and started a company. And let's be real, hiring is a messy, crazy business. And we're just here to unravel some of that mess. So we just want to let you know that we can come alongside you as the hiring manager and make that simple. And as a job seeker, you're ready to reinvent yourself, we're ready for you. So that's Monarch Staffing, and we're focusing on veterans right now. So veterans and their families, if you know somebody who is transitioning to a civilian work opportunity, we're having a free webinar June 25th at 12 o'clock. Think of those neighbors that can benefit from that. We would love to be able to help them. Thank you so much.
I know. We also had another video chat sponsor today, S&T Bank. they weren't able to come today, but we appreciate the support to the Exton Chamber and Women's Business Connection for this virtual chat in person, which is pretty cool. So, I hate that. I know. So this is the time that usually virtually we would have a video chat and kind of go break out into different rooms and talk about what we learned from, in this case, Randy Zuckerberg. So put on your thinking caps when you were watching that. What did that elicit? What thoughts came out? So I'm going to start with Diana asking a question, and we will run up to you. If you have an answer, raise your hand. And again, give us your name and the company you're with, and then we can start this conversation. I know we can hear each other here, but because of our guests, we want to make sure they can hear as well.
So I love the idea where she talked about having a hackathon. So that got me thinking, and I know we could all use that in different organizations or different our jobs, or even at home. We can probably think of some think tank ideas, and nothing is a bad idea. Obviously, someone did have a bad idea, but it sparks good ideas out of that. So in what settings do you feel comfortable sharing your ideas? So like a hackathon sounds like it would be comfortable, and I know there's a lot of settings where we don't feel comfortable, but what settings do you feel comfortable sharing your ideas? Anybody want to share something come to mind? And if you on Zoom, you can put on the chat.
I'm a little too comfortable sharing my ideas, so that's why I'm answering right now. But usually in these settings, educational settings and workplace settings, and I try to bring it in at home to empower my kids. Step on my husband's toes. Oh yeah, I'm Cindy Jers. I'm with the Euclid Ambulance Corps.
Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing. Exactly. Like sometimes for me, like being in a room full of women, I feel totally at ease because I feel like I can, speak my mind. I always get support from my ladies, so I always feel comfortable coming up with ideas. But maybe what has ever stood in the way of you voicing your ideas? Maybe that's a better question. Oh, Debbie, you're so shy.
Debbie Friedman, Blue Dogs Printing and Design. Honestly, my husband. I know a lot of you know my husband and love my husband.
Do you want to wait for it to stay?
But
Is that what we're trying to do?
he always starts with no. Any idea. And after a while, I've said, why can't we start with how can it be yes? So we met with a business coach, and he suggested that I come to the table with all the negativity and he comes to the table with all the positivity and try to see from the other's perspective. So
Different. Thank you for sharing. That's different. All right. Anybody else have another one? I have more questions. Anyone else have a thought of what has ever stood in the way of you voicing your ideas?
On Debbie's point, I'm Jackie Krigo. That's what she said, marketing and more. Sometimes what's standing in your way, I think as women, and the majority of everyone's women here. Yeah, let me pop left. No offense, but sometimes I think as a woman, you walk into a room and you think they're not going to listen to my ideas, especially if men are present. And the hell with that, just give it a shot. And the worst thing, you're going to walk away and say, I made a complete fool of myself, which certainly can't be the first time in your life, right? Or you're going to walk away and other woman in the room is going to say, dang, she inspired me to speak up and share your opinion. So I think it's just getting out of that fear factor, because sometimes we limit ourselves because of, it could be powerful women, but a lot of times it's guys. We love them, but it's the truth.
You guys are not giving me a workout in the stairs here.
I might be the opposite of everybody here, but I typically feel more comfortable voicing my opinion to men. I don't know. I don't know why. It's always seemed to me like groups of women, I suppose. Sorry, everybody. Not you guys, but I guess because I'm younger, a lot of older women kind of like shoo me. Not here, like I said, not here. So yeah, I think coming to groups of strong, powerful women, a lot of them are already like cliquey, you know, and have their groups, whereas men aren't as cliquey, and then I just say what I want, unfiltered. So.
I think the point about whether you're new in the environment, or if you're new in an environment and you feel like everybody is already established, this is the way things are done, and we're not really that open with your ideas. So you're kind of like, I'm still the newbie here, but I'm looking at something through totally fresh eyes, and it may or may not be accepted, but I think that's a challenge.
Awesome, thank you. Now, what can you do today to foster an environment where everyone feels safe to share their ideas? Oh, build trust.
I'm Heather from graphic marketing. One thing I did recently in leading a team, it's really weird, was to ask the question to the team, like, what have you experienced at another job before this that you think we could benefit from here? And that sort of opened up this whole conversation where people felt safe to be heard with their ideas, and in fact, many good ideas come out of that conversation that we can apply.
My name is Pearl King. I'm with Travelers. I used to manage 10 people, and what I would do is have them meet without any managers, so they could voice their opinions and then send an email with bullet points, so I didn't know who it came from. So I got a lot of good, honest answers that way.
That's a good idea. Back row? They are good ideas.
And I think making people feel comfortable.
What'd you say, Marie Berry from Easy Peasy Cleaning and Oswald Building Service?
Here we go. I think being friendly and welcoming. So don't intimidate anybody. Say hello and smile and be helpful.
We forgot our
Oh, we did forget our crowns. Okay, so
the only thing I was gonna also add is put yourself in the other person's shoes, especially if you are a younger person, or you see that they're being quiet, like an older person like me, you know, you try to remember like what it was like to be the only woman in the room, or the youngest person in the room, or the newest person in the room. You know, and try to really, I mean, there are times when I lead meetings where it's like, do it this way, but you know, really that's the way you get people to open up, to be able to collaborate. And
she said they're in Randy and they're in breakout.
good, I love it.
All right, so that's. So what are 3 areas that you'd like to excel in? I'm sorry, going too far ahead. So I loved her idea of you pick 3. So what 3 areas would you like to excel in most right now? Work, sleep, family, friends, and fitness. So pick the 3 things and prioritize your time so you can thrive in those 3 areas rather than being mediocre by trying to balance everything at once.
Exactly, Nina. That's
Nina
what I
had-
do too.
What did Nina say?
She said she rewound it 3 times. That was her favorite part.
You have to call out to me when she's putting her child in. All right, I got Nancy up here. I'm gonna trip off the stairs. It's gonna be awesome. That's it.
I think it's important to, I like that she said you didn't have to do the same things every day. So for me, right now, it would be, and I don't know if this is the right order, but friends, fitness, family. My family's not around, so that's why I put them third. And right now, work would be down pretty far, because I'm trying not to do as much. And sleep, I don't know, I guess you need it. But I definitely friends and fitness and family are probably all, every day, that's my top 3.
I could have used this last week, you know? Here I come, here I come.
I'm Petra. That is really weird. Again, with Rodan and Fields. And I think this really resonated with me. Actually, at a Rodan and Fields conference several years ago, our founders made that statement of, like, one of their fathers, I think, said, you can have it all, just not at the same time. So it's really the same idea of, like, figuring it out, what's the most important right now? What do I need to really drive for? And then going from there.
Nicely put. I have a hard time with that, not being able to do everything, be good at everything. Anybody else struggle with that? That you have to let something
Drop the ball.
drop the ball. I know. And it's usually, she says, usually sleep.
I feel like watching my husband work, he, for the last year, sits in the office at our house and does what he needs to do. And on the days that I'm home, I'm doing what I need to do for work, plus checking on my son, plus doing PTO stuff and this and that. And he just focuses on what he needs to do for work. And we all try to do all the things instead of focusing on where we need to be.
Isn't it amazing how men can compartmentalize that, you know, and we can, somebody said that before. Was it you, Betty? That women have these minds that can multitask, and why is that?
So, this is creepy. So I focus on work as number 1, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. But I decided for the summer, I don't know if you don't all know, but I have the most amazing grandsons. So for the summer, Wednesday, I'm grandma, and that's it.
Anybody else want to share? Someone close to me? Come on, second row.
Margarita Ampler, wow, okay. Yeah, I just wanted to I guess, say what everyone else is saying. I think every day is a different priority, and I myself do the top 3 for every day. And it changes every day. So you just get through the day, get your things done, and things shift. So I think that's how I start my day.
Awesome, thank you. Anybody else feel like you try to do that, but things get thrown at you? Like, how do you still stay the path?
Hard, which is the word that everyone uses. Yeah, I mean, I have my 3 top things that I want to do for the day. And then I look at my calendar and then sometimes things change. A client will call, want something done like today. And then you just have to shift and then say, okay, well, that's not that important. It could wait till tomorrow morning. That's how I do it.
Want to share? Let's start putting you on the spot. Sharon, how about you?
Hi, everybody, Sharon Sharp with First Resource Bank. Yeah. You know, I think with this, the one thing that I'm getting out of it is it's okay to not have to do everything. Because I think we as women, I mean, I wake up every day, my eyes open, and I'm like, go. We all are, with Diana's point. Who has to be where when? What's for dinner? You know, everything, and this is all before 6 o'clock in the morning, you know? So I like the idea of picking 3, and it may go hour by hour, and I think we need to give ourselves permission that that's okay.
And how do you do like a half-day check-in with yourself, or like, I just kind of fly around? Anybody have any ideas how you stay on track? 3, write it down, post it right on my head.
Master being well lopsided and interest, yeah, that's true. Yeah, well lopsided.
Mastered being well lopsided. Love that. Does anybody feel like they're well balanced with their work life? Anybody here want to brag about that right now? And teach us? This might be amazed. Yeah. Okay, so in what ways are you routinely putting yourself in uncomfortable situations for the sake of innovation? She mentioned good leaders are not afraid to get out of their comfort zone. And matter of fact, they embrace it. Does anybody want to share how you routinely put yourself in an uncomfortable situation?
Hi, Brenda Gall from Furniture Suit. So we do commercial design projects, and I think we only inherit the most weird, difficult, and hard to figure out things on the face of the earth. And I think part of that is because we're willing to say, I don't know how to do this, we'll figure it out, let's like really leap and pull things together that may be unrelated or don't make sense and try to pull it into something. So that's actually my day-to-day.
Of course. So right before I watched Randi Zuckerberg yesterday, my son, who is a dentist and lives in Minneapolis, started texting me, talk about where your top 3 now family goes to number 1. And he was told on Friday afternoon that that was his last day in the office, and he was starting at 2 new offices next week. My son has tons of problems with transition, and he just kept saying, I just want to throw up. I don't know where I'm going to put my dog. I don't know how I'm going to manage this. I'm going to have to meet new people. I'm going to have to do all these things. And I'm sitting there texting, like, I have Leadercast. I was going to say, you can't really be like, you know, living your 28-year-old life with you. But then I watched Randi, and I was like, that's how you get successful. You put yourself and master those situations. And I know entrepreneurs like Patricia, like, you know, Debbie, like all of you who are entrepreneurs or in entrepreneurial positions have to go through that. And it was just great to hear someone as successful as Randi bring that point to light.
And to add to Laurie's comments there, I think the one thing too that I've learned, because I can get so overwhelmed in work life in general, but I tell myself, break it down. Break it down to, if it's the smallest, minutest task and it's down to a 10-minute project, break it down, accomplish that. Sense of accomplishment, then you go to the next thing. And the other thing that I've learned to say to myself a lot too, in the end, it all works out.
And it did. His first day of work with it was awesome. He's gonna, it's a terrible office, we're gonna fire the other dentist. He's gonna be a rock star and, but that's what you have to do, sometimes.
Awesome.
So something that I have done since college in order to make myself uncomfortable, because I don't know, right? And so I've always been in majority situations, places where I'm in the majority. So I had a project in college where where I had to put myself in positions where I'm in the minority. So I went to a Mennonite church. I went to an all-black church. I went to the Hispanic community center. And so I was in the minority. I didn't know anything about these cultures. I didn't know anything about anything that they're doing. And so since then, I've tried to continue that and put myself in a situation like that at least once a year, and really feel like what it is like to be a minority. I am really fortunate that, so I would encourage you guys here to do something like that and make yourselves really uncomfortable all of the time, and yeah, I learned so much about these different cultures, and you learn all of their meanings for certain things that you had no idea where it came from. And I think I've grown so much as a person because of that. So purposefully putting yourself in those situations, I think it's really important. Thank you.
So I'm gonna agree with the purposefully putting yourself in there, because I have not, I'm a procrastinator. So I unintentionally put myself in those situations, and with COVID, I have young children at home, and it forced me fully out of my comfort zone to be out of work and get a job, teach them from home. And so I wanna take time to reflect and actually learn from my innovation, because I know there's things I've been innovating, but I don't know how many of us in the room actually have the time to take the time to reflect and figure out all the great stuff we're doing and celebrate it.
I wanted to get back to something that Brenda said about we'll figure it out. And Randi said it about Facebook Live when Katy Perry's team called. So when I started my business in 1996, in 98, I got a client because they asked me to do a PowerPoint presentation. And I was like, oh, I can do PowerPoint. In college, I did it on slides, like literal slides. And they asked me to have things flying in and audio go. I didn't know how to do those things, but I just said, okay, I'll get it done. And I got home and there's no internet, there's no Google. And I just had to figure it out. And they became my biggest client. And I held them for probably about 10 to 12 years till they got bought out. But because I said, oh, sure, no problem. Oh, how am I gonna do this? I figured it out. Just figured it out.
Diana, what did you say about figuring this out? We said we could do it, right?
We did. We got it in hybrid. I'm sorry, I'm like yelling into this super loud microphone. I know. We weren't sure how to do most things during this past year, but you just had to figure it out. I mean, I'm not going to go into homeschooling or any hybrids, all behind us now. We can laugh about it and learn from it. Just what you said. I don't know anybody in this room that can't take a great takeaway out of what just happened over the last year and a half. You know, we were spending more time with family, on ourselves, or, you know, and finding out, prioritizing what is important here and what is not important. What was I spending so much time for? And I didn't need to do that. I see some eyes rolling and agreeing and shaking. I'll make my way up.
I was gonna just say quickly, anyone ever heard of Marie Forleo? She has a book out called Everything is Figure Outable. It's a really good book, really good book.
I'll make my way up. And thank you all for not making fun of my Flintstone feet.
I think I heard that somebody said someday is not a day. So a lot of times an idea will pop in our heads and we don't have time to deal with this, or we don't have that space to reflect. So I use my iPhone, the memo, and I have kind of like a parking lot going on of someday I'll figure this out or have this idea. And I think companies should have the same policy where it's like, throw out all the ideas, get the whiteboard out. Might not be the time, but let's have a family parking lot where we can go back to those ideas. So have a personal and a work parking lot of ideas.
Anybody else want to share? We're going to be kind of wrapping up last minute thoughts before we do a few more things towards the end, exciting things. So if you had something on your mind, even a past question, you're like, I should have said that. Hello, now's your time. And you can say who you are, what your company is. We all hear you. This is safe space. So it says recording, but it's not recording. So space. Anybody want to share? Petra, you look like you're. No? Anybody want to speak up? Last minute thoughts, something?
Anything from the whole series that, you know, any thoughts, feedback, recording?
Yeah, even last speakers that maybe came out in a breakout session that was like, you know, really eye-opening.
I thought Abby Wambach was incredible, and she was so out of my comfort zone. Like, it all resonated, but it was just in my face, and I had to believe she said. So it was challenging for me, but I really want to read the book, and I'm like her new fan. But I wonder who else had that experience, like just realizing it, you know, when she was saying it out loud.
It's funny you bring that up because it's funny how sports line up with a lot of the things we do, teamwork, our works, our jobs, you know, winning, losing, it's all the same thing. So you might not have been an athlete or play soccer, it was relevant for everybody because we've all been on the bench, you know, and we've all wanted to be in the spotlight and playing, but you know, you had other people also with you, you know, so it's.
I think a lot of these speakers speak to all ages, okay? So something that you might, you know, Kelly, think about as, you know, a young mother doing your business, you know, career, and someone like I am thinking about, but we take away different things, become really fully understanding. So it's a really good.
Last chance. All right, we're doing our wrap-up stuff. At this time, it is my pleasure to introduce our book sponsor of this series and the chairman of the board for the Exton Region Chamber of Commerce, Ms. Fran Shaw of Miller's Insurance. Thank you so much for your support and being awesome.
Okay, I gotta get used to talking with this far away. I am just thrilled to be the book sponsor of this whole entire series. We at Miller's Insurance, we like to educate, we like to help. I know many of you. And when I kept looking at this was ripple effect, and I think of all of the kindnesses that I have felt from each and every one of you, that has turned into a big ocean of just ripple effect. So I'm just thrilled that we were able to do this, and I thought it was great. Even though it was different than 2 years ago, it was awesome. So I think that we get big names, am I right?
Yes, but, so Mario is in charge of ordering the books, and the books, Amazon is taking a little longer for Randy's books, so whoever wins this is gonna have to meet me with me in person, so I can deliver it to them. Like, oh, that's so sad, I know, I have to go to a Lions Space and meet there and have breakfast to get the book, but.
Okay, I'm not.
Oh, wait.
First is 2 books for today.
Oh, that's right, okay.
Sorry.
Okay. Here, you hold that, my mom picked.
Sorry.
And our first winner, Keeper Room. I'll look in again. And we have Cynthia with Euclid and Feeling.
Now, the next one is for the big.
It's very close to heart.
So all the books from the past series are in here. A little coffee mug and some tea bags, some money plant seeds from Fran and Miller's Insurance and the Exton Chamber. So it's just missing one book. So I'm gonna have to meet you also to have coffee. But the winner of the whole series was
Drum roll. And we have.
She gets to win.
She's so lovely. She's going to read. I'll have her a glass of wine. Here we go. Oh, we have Brenda with furniture soup.
So, can you tell us a little bit about this chair, Brenda? Brenda is one of our logo sponsors. There's things, so can you tell us a little bit more about this chair?
Actually, since we're all working, or have worked from home, or have been working in lots of different ways, I decided that giving a chair away might be helpful for somebody's house. So, it's got a mesh back, it's got a pneumatic cylinder, you can move it up and down, you can twirl around in it, you can do some good business in it, do all your brainstorming in it. All right. Where's my?
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Sponsors, I just want to reiterate again who our sponsors were. Again, Caesar is our presenting sponsor. Miller's Insurance is our book sponsor. Central Penn Insurance Company, Easy Peasy Clean, First Resource Bank, Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses, Monarch Staffing, Montrose Park Advisors, and S&T Bank are our virtual chat sponsors. And our logo sponsors are Nina Malone and Argonne Independent Consultant, Furniture Soup, the Leland Leadership Group, Nothing But Cakes, Lionville Natural Pharmacy, Stein Realty Group, and White Cat Mortgage. And of course, we couldn't put on an event without Raymond Design as the print sponsor. So again, let's give everybody a round of applause for especially when we didn't know what this was going to be. And I love partnering with Women's Business Connection, the way that we could pivot and figure it out. That's good.
And this is the exact way that we ended the original one. We were in the bar and all these great conversations, and this is exactly what we had envisioned with this. So thanks.
So maybe one day we'll do it again. You never know. Yeah. So First Resource Bank. Do you want to pick it, Sharon? We're taking Debbie's, Diana's out of here.
She came in 3 times.
I know.
And I had mine and Randy together. Randy, Joyce, Kurt.
You won. Thank you. And then the CEIPSR LASIK surgery, which the people that were not in the original series, I'll make sure you get on the email list as well. If I have your email, especially with the cards, and again, it's transferable.
Jen Campbell with Commercial Clean Space.
Woo! Awesome. Okay. Ladies, Nina and Randy, do you have anything to type for the rest of the order? I am so impressed that we made this happen, and it's only because of the Movie Tavern here. So it gives me hope that we might do this again in the future. The cool thing is the lineup for the next Leadercast is super amazing, but it's in August and I can't do August. So if they can make us have it in like the winter sometime, which I think we can, it might happen. But if you look up Leadercast and see who that lineup is, and it's not going to be just for women, unfortunately, but it might still be a very inspiring day. There's a lot of men, women speakers. So keep in tune just in case the Exton Chamber decides to do something and WBC wants to do it as well. Who knows? Yeah, it's called. Okay, sorry, someone has to freaking pay.
I just had a text from my husband, the Route 30 is closed from downtown Quicksilver. Thank you.
Okay, let's go to World of Beer. Woo! I spent Joyce's money. It's called.
It's a pleasure. It's our pleasure. Both organizations just meshed so well, so appreciate it. And you did all the work, sorry. I'm just the jazz hand. So it's Guy Raz, award-winning reporter, radio podcast host of How I Built This, Rainn Wilson, 3-time from The Office, 3-time Emmy nominator from the guy from The Office. Chris Carter, Pro Football Hall of Fame wide receiver and TV commentator. Liz Bohannon, founder and what does that say? Seco Designs, author of Beginner's Luck. Austin Channing Brown, speaker and author of New York Times bestseller I'm Still Here. And Andy Staley, most of you have heard or read. Communicator, pastor, author, Better Decisions, Fewer Regrets. Michael C. Bush, CEO, author of A Great Place to Work for All. Todd Henry, founder of Accidental Creative, author of The Motivational Code. Denny Tato, CEO, Corporate Consciousness, Executive Enneagram Coach. Chuck Mingo, founder of Living Undivided. Sunny Parr, Executive Director of Kroger Foundation, and David Baker, President and CEO of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So that would be the next speaker lineup with the men and women speakers.
And potentially it could be in 2 theaters, you know, it would be a one-day event again. But I'm not doing, I'm sorry, I'm never doing Zoom alone again. I'm just not. Not for something as big, but I do, we will probably always have a virtual component, at least in the Exton Chamber events for a very long time. We developed a lot of introverts in 2020 and they still matter. So, but hopefully we'll get to see you all again in the future. If not this one, another one. So, do you have any upcoming events?
Oh, well, yes. Well, why don't you start away?
Yes, stay alive. Chamber has had a casino night for the past 12 years. First run by Nancy Tuttle of Tuttle Marketing. Now the what do you call it? Chair is Diane Mattingly, and First Resource Bank is the sponsor. And we are going to find a way to make a light up dance floor at Whitford Country Club.
They're a little harder to find than you think. If everybody knows they can light up dance floor.
Yeah, so it's going to be really fun. A way to get back to a little bit of normalcy. Because of COVID, we don't want to oversell the space. So if you are interested in attending or sponsoring, let us know. We will reserve your spot. You don't have to pay us. You don't even have to really commit. Just reserve your spot because I'm terrible at remembering unless I have an email and it goes into CRM. So we hope to see you soon at 6 o'clock, and I'm so impressed with you ladies that we could make this all happen. Do you have a lot?
Oh, yeah, I have 2 events I just want to mention for the WBC. Our first in-person cocktail connection is Monday, June 21st at Penswood Winery. We had a virtual event with them with wine and chocolate. If you missed out on that, don't miss out on this. And if you went to that, go to this. Their wine is incredible, and you get the first drink free, and we're going to have cheese and crackers for you. And after that, it's just $6 a glass. We're going to be outside. It's going to be a beautiful day, Monday the 21st. And then we're back at the Downingtown Country Club every second Tuesday of the month, starting July 13th. So the theme of that one, we don't have a keynote speaker. We're just going to be back to business, more networking, more in-person connections, and we'll just tell you what's coming up with the WBC. So thank you.
I forgot to mention too, June is membership drive for the chamber. We have a lot of events on the calendar with the young professionals like these ladies here, plus our cornhole event and Connexton networking. If you want to try us out this month, please come. And there's some perks if you join by July 5th, just saying. Anyway, visit www.extonregionchamber.com, which is our new website. You want to talk?
I will talk about that. Just very quickly, Cassie and I and a number of other people for the Exton Chamber